thinking about, my hardest moments or my toughest times or what got me over something, everyone's big moments are... And it's hard, like I'm still doing it day to day, but I think there was a big moment of a transitional shift where I said to myself, you know what?
Guys like you are always you're never gonna be enough.
Yeah, and I think at some point you have to know what's enough. I don't think there's ever gonna be enough.
You have to be tough, especially in the industry that you're in, and how cutthroat the area could be.
Yeah, I think there's a misconception these days with what hard work means.
Where does the self-confidence come from for you?
You can start your life over at 45. You can take a new career at 40, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to take a quick break from our show to say a massive thank you and a big shout out to one of our amazing sponsors, Dave DiStefano. Dave is a mortgage broker with over 13 years in the business, and Dave has a great rapport with a network of lenders, including big banks, credit unions, trust companies, financial institutions, and private funds. He will work on your behalf to help you find the best mortgage with the most agreeable terms and the lowest interest rate. After meeting Dave many times and having great discussions with him, he provides a level of confidence and comfort in knowing that he is going to take care of you. If you want to reach out to Dave, you can find his office on 6293 Thorold Stone Road in Niagara Falls. For more information or to make an appointment for any of your mortgage needs, call 905-933-1090. That's 905-933-1090. And thanks for listening. Back to the show.
What's going on, Meeting Gold listeners? It's Chris Battaglia, 416 Coffee. Use the coupon code Meeting Gold to get 10% off your first order at 416 Coffee. Enjoy the show.
That's all it's about.
Credibility is everything.
Yeah.
Like it gets you so much.
Yeah, so true.
We'll get rolling here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Meeting Gold Show. We've got Nick Crozier, good friend of mine, good client of ours. Man, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate it.
You coming from you're in the Port Credit area or Toronto?
Etobicoke. Yeah.
So where's that in relation to Toronto and?
It's Toronto. It's still technically Toronto. Come a little bit outside the city. They don't know where Toronto is. The capital,
it still is busy.
It's the capital of Canada, as you've heard.
There you go.
No. It's pretty much like your borderline, Etobicoke, right where we are, Humber Bay Shores. Basically, I call it the middle of West End Toronto. So you're right between Mississauga and Toronto.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
You're a 10-minute drive into the downtown if you want the downtown, and you're right outside the city still if you don't want it. So it's kind of like the perfect medium. That's why I love it.
So Nick is a real estate agent in the Etobicoke, Port Credit, Toronto area,
Toronto,
GTA.
Mississauga, GTA call it. We run from, I wouldn't limit myself. We've specialized in Etobicoke, Mississauga, but we pretty much span from Durham to Hamilton.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
through
it.
that team, investing, that kind of thing. So we don't say no.
Yeah. Here, move the mic a little bit. There we go. Yeah, perfect.
We definitely span throughout. So
yeah. Okay, gotcha. Well, Nick, the reason I wanted to bring you on today was more because you've got a lot of expertise, especially as an individual agent in the area. And because you're an individual agent, that's very hard to not get consumed right away by big teams and what have it.
Yeah.
You've built up a brand name in the area. A lot of people know who you are, what you do, and we'll kind of break down why. But first, we do this series. We ask people questions. So like our previous guest, they don't know who we're bringing on, but we ask them, what would you ask the next guest?
Okay.
So we do a fun questionnaire like that.
Okay, I like that. That's cool.
And I'm gonna get right into it. Sometimes I leave it till the end, but
get right in. Let's do it.
Let's get into it. So one of the questions that they had two, but one of them was, what were the skills and strengths you were using at a time when you were at your best?
Okay.
The skills and strengths.
The skills and strengths I would be using at my best. Okay. I don't know if I would call it a skill or a strength. I would say it's number 1 and 2 would be mental toughness. Most of the time when you're going to be at your best is going to be through a time where you're challenged. So you don't actually know you're going through your best time until you're actually challenged in it, and you can look back and say, holy crap, I overcame this. I would say mental toughness is probably one of the biggest and most underrated skill sets somebody can have through that. going through those times. And I think, you got hard work, that everyone's going to say that, but I think communication throughout your toughest times, any breakdown, any negative that can happen from something is communication. Usually if you can go through a situation where you're running through this or something bad happened, there's a breakdown of communication somewhere. So being able to be self-aware of that and just push through it, I think in terms of the two strengths, I would say communication and mindset.
It's interesting, the mental toughness part that you said. I haven't really heard that too much before.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to be tough, especially in the industry that you're in, and how cutthroat the area could be.
Yeah, I think in a sense, it's like when you're thinking about, my hardest moments or my toughest times or what got me over something. Everyone's big moments are an accomplishment. We figured out a problem. We've helped a solution, whether it be client-based, life, personal. So you have to think like what was going through your head during these times, right? Because most of those times are the spots where you're sitting there, oh my God, this isn't going to work out. This client is this, that's this. Who's going to stay positive? Who is there? Nobody else. Like in our industry, it's a lonely industry, as they always say. It's you in your head. So if you're able to conquer that in that situation, I think that says a lot.
Was there a time for you, even before real estate, that you had to show mental toughness? And can you kind of break that down for me? Like, was there
I honestly would say before real estate, mental toughness, I wouldn't even consider myself that mentally tough, if you want to call toughness as a word. I would say I definitely developed it and made a conscious effort to really understand. And it's hard. Like I'm still doing it day to day, but I think there was a big moment of a transitional shift where I said to myself, you know what? There's nobody else here to blame, right? There's no excuse for why you cannot be this or cannot be successful. Or, I sat down and had a hard conversation with myself and it was like, okay, why have you failed before? Can you honestly look back and say you did what you needed to do to become the best in whatever that might have been? Or if the goal came up short, did I truly give it or did I make up excuses?
What point in your life did you sit down with yourself and say, I need to take a hard look at myself in the mirror?
So it's a very pivotal moment. I'll never forget it. I was at Texas A&M because I was doing firefighting out there. And we were going through the schooling and coursing, and I'll never forget it. It was a Friday morning. We did math. It was a math class. And at this point, I already finished my degree. I have a kinesiology degree background. So I went down there, did that. And I'll never forget it. I was sitting in the classroom and, the big sales pitch, and I love firefighting. I'm not going to knock anything about it. But the big pitch was you could work 7 days a month. You could coast, you make some good money. This is perfect. If you break that down, I can work 90 days of the year or so, something like that, and basically make a 6-figure salary. I was like, this is beautiful. Like, this is easy. I can coast through. And we got to the math portion of this course, and it was very simple to me. Like, I did calculus in university and whatnot. I'm no mathematician by any means. Trust me, I suck. But, I was sitting in the room and I looked around and said to myself, like at one point, I started helping the class. I was teaching the class how to do this, what I thought was simple math. And I said to myself, well, is this what my future, or am I really living up to my biggest potential? Like this skill set that I learned, the university I went through, the degree I got, to come here, then to sit there and say, I have the skill set and I'm not even using it. So,
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You brought up potential, purpose, and I think that is something that we as humans struggle with so much.
Yeah.
But when you were looking at it, was it almost like this fear moment of, wait, what am I doing? Like, what is my potential?
Yeah, I would say it was more so like, I go back because I played hockey growing up, played a pretty high level of hockey, thought I could go somewhere, do it, whatnot. And, I look back at it now and I say to myself, I had some skill, don't get me wrong, but I look back and I say, I wasn't doing anything. Like I didn't train in the summer when everybody was. I didn't do this, or I wasn't doing the extra stuff you're supposed to do. Or, like our junior teams, we had optional practices I never went to. And I'm like, I never even gave that effort. I never actually applied myself. And I would catch myself saying, oh, I could have made it, or I should have been on that team. And it's like, no, I actually shouldn't have. Like, I actually did not deserve to be on those teams.
You were coasting.
Yeah, like I wasn't really living like I was good. I wasn't like a bench player or a healthy scratch or something. But I'm like, for what my skill set was, for not even living up to that potential, I just sat to myself and said, is that what I want to do again? And it was that day I actually, while I was in school in Texas, I enrolled for my real estate. Because
Really?
I always wanted to do both. I thought it would be one full-time, one part-time. And then I realized, learned a lot more about the industry and what I can do in the potential. Because I don't have any family or any background in it. So it was kind of like a teach yourself moment. And I just decided, you know what? What do I got to lose? I can always go back to firefighting. Because most of my buddies
Yeah.
at the time, I finished at 24, 25. So I figured, everyone I'm hearing from, it takes 3 to 5 years anyways to get in. So I figured, well, if I give this thing a try, if I'm 30, 35 and, I can't do it, I
Go
fail,
back.
well, I'll just go back. Like I can
Now,
still
let me
higher.
ask you this. So we have conversations like this all the time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think a lot of people struggle with, or that I'll hear being young in the industry, being young
Yeah.
in the entrepreneur industry, is, wow, I wish I started sooner.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this. Is there a part of you that says, why did you even go to school? Why did you even pursue firefighting? Why didn't you just start in real estate sooner?
No.
Why
at all.
not?
Never. Because you wouldn't be able to make the decisions you
Yeah.
make today if you didn't go through those.
If you didn't go through
If I
it.
started real estate at 24, 23, who knows what I would have been doing. I didn't have responsibilities to drive and push me. I wasn't mature enough at that age to say, I see some agents that are 24 to 27, 25, and they're killing it. Man, I wasn't like them. So I think, you got to go through those things, but you have to self-reflect sometimes and say to yourself, all right, I can appreciate I didn't live up to my potential. That's okay. That means I didn't want it.
Do you feel like you're living up to your potential now?
I think I'm there. I think I still have a lot to go. I wouldn't say I'm at my fullest potential. I think with fullest potential, I don't think you'll ever reach your full potential. I think there was a good speech Matthew McConaughey had.
I know where you're going.
Yeah,
When he won the Oscar?
Yeah, when he won the Oscar, and he just kind of said, this is myself in 5 years. This is myself in 10 years. I may not ever be that person because you're always evolving. You're always changing into what you want to be. Your life changes. At first you want to be the guy who's going to do this. And then maybe you get a spouse. Maybe you have a kid. Now you want to be the best dad, or you want to be this. So it's like you're always evolving and changing. But I think if the goals are set so high, the worst case, you're just going to fall short of a really high goal.
Let me ask you this, though. A lot of people, especially perfectionists,
Yep.
struggle with that, and that actually eats them up inside.
And that's, that comes down from, I always say there's being a perfectionist in terms of detail, and then there's being a micromanager.
Like being okay. Yeah, like being okay
Yeah.
with not ever being fully enough. Because guys like you are always you're never gonna be enough.
Yeah, and I think at some point you have to know what's enough. I don't think there's ever gonna be enough. You can watch interviews with billionaires and there's never enough. Like what is enough? What does enough mean? Is 100 million? Is it a money thing? Is it a happy thing? Is it, maybe I own a home in the city I really want, or I'm able to live back if I want to grow up in the neighborhood I grew up with my kids. Like, what is enough? And I think the one thing I've really learned from it is your one thing will change and evolve as you evolve, but you have to be zoned in on what that is. So if you understand exactly what do I want? What will I look back in 3 years or at the end of the year and say to myself, this was a successful year? If I write down my 20 goals of this year, realistically on the 80-20 principle, 4 of those goals matter the most to you.
Interesting. So I feel like a important trait in being able to recognize that enough is never enough is also being present.
Of course.
And a lot of people talk about that a lot. Like, I don't know about you, but I'll find myself coasting throughout the day. Sure, I'm busy, but is it smart busy? Am I being present in every moment?
Yeah.
Being present in the meeting or whatever that may be. For you, do you struggle with being present? And is that something that you have to catch yourself with?
Absolutely. I mean, I think I've made a conscious effort now, even with social media and outlets. We're always on our phones and everything like that. Like, I know for me personally, any vacation I go on, I actually try to leave my phone in my room.
Well, you do. You just recently came back from Hawaii.
And I legitimately leave it there. As much as some people think I need to live on it and I be on my phone, I don't like to be on my phone. Like, I got an Instagram account in 2015. Like, if you search my thing, I started real estate in 2016 or 2017. So I only had Instagram for like I never used Facebook. I didn't like anything social. So it's kind of ironic now that it's like social, everything's on camera. And
well,
this and that.
the
So
other
it's
thing
funny.
too is, we'll get into it, is your business you've built a really good business off of socials.
It's off social, and and I think that's kind of the funny part with it, right? It's ironic to me, and a lot of people don't believe me. It's funny, but yeah, I think being present, being in the moment, just like the smallest of things. Like, I mean, I remember, we're driving from the airport and just taking in everything around you. the sights and everything. You don't realize sometimes how caught up we get on our phones.
Yeah.
We're driving. We're not paying attention to the little things that are around us.
It's hard to be present in that
It
moment.
is. It's very hard to be present in a world that's a 4-second attention span.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it's very true. We'll get into how you've built your business on socials. The other question that Sherry had for you, who she didn't know who she was asking, she goes, someone you admire in your circle, and what about them do you admire? In your circle right now.
Like my circle of friends?
Yeah, we're not talking, I mean, unless you know Matthew McConaughey, but.
No, unfortunately, I haven't been down Texas. I mean, I think I have a good group of guys around me for the most part. I would say if I were to pinpoint, like, you want to know the person or just the one person I'm thinking
the person.
I would say it's a mixture of a couple people. I would say that keep me grounded. I would say between a coach and a mentor and maybe probably, honestly, I would probably go out there and say of my one buddy, one of my best friends, and probably one of my cousin, actually, in different ways.
Yeah. So you look at what they bring to the table in terms of teaching you.
I would say there's probably like 3 main boys that would probably bring something to me in a different dynamic. You know?
What does that dynamic look like?
So I would say one guy for sure. My one boy, like when it comes to hard work, ethic, morals, discipline, respect, I think the level of standard that he's able to hold himself to is very admirable. It's very motivating to see that. It pushes you. It gives you that extra oomph. There's definitely some aspects of how I see, someone in a relationship with, or, I think there's an aspect of life when I think of my cousin, for instance, where, you can admire the success he's built and the family and everything like that. And you can understand, you're like, you know what? I like what I see. I know I'm not there yet. But it's interesting to watch it. And this has really evolved in me just kind of taking a back seat and really trying to dig deep on, what pushes you? What makes you tick? What do you see in a family? What do you see in different relationships? When the smoke's gone, like, what does happy look like to you? Right?
Yeah.
So seeing that and understanding the dynamics and seeing them in different scenarios and relationships and just rolling with punches and stuff like that. It's very interesting to see the different dynamics. So, from a relationship standpoint, you look at one thing, my other buddy, very driven, very very stern in what he developing. And, it's very like, I'm going to do this. And, you got to admire this is me. This is what I'm doing. You don't like it. No big deal.
I see you think this a similar way. Me and you think a similar way. It's like this quest for happiness. Not that we're not happy.
Yeah.
Trying to understand what happiness means. Nick, do you have a time, maybe it was in your childhood?
Yeah.
That definitely reflects for me. I mean, some people say I'm still in my childhood.
I was going to say.
But
someone
anyways,
knows your age.
So do you have a moment that you would say you were most happy or most present?
I don't know if I would say like my childhood would give me a moment of presence or a moment of, I think if anything, I look back and say I wasn't present. Everything was the next move, the next this, the next that, the next, when you're in university, the next game, the next party, the next this, the next, you're never actually just there. And you look back at all the fun times you had and you talk about the stories and you reminisce and you're like, man, I wish at one time I just took back a second when I was younger to just enjoy what was going on, all the funny stories and everything you have with no responsibility and stuff. So you look back at it now and you're like, man, those were some fun, easy times. So I don't know if I would say I was present. I would say, if anything, you don't realize how fast it flashes by and you don't appreciate those moments, I would say, more than anything.
It's interesting because I feel like most individuals say that. Like, everybody tells you as a child, take it slow, just enjoy it. And you don't listen.
No, of
You
course.
just don't
And
listen.
it's funny because as a kid, you're hurrying and rushing to be an adult. And as an adult, you want to be a kid.
It's that song. I don't know if you probably don't listen to country, but Thomas Rhett.
actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
Life
yeah,
Changes.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, there we go.
I love country. Yeah. So I'm
He always sings about that. How life
yeah.
changes, and the other song would be like 16. So when
Right.
he's 16, he wants to be 18. 18 wants to be 21.
21. And it's it's funny. And even now you're sitting there, right? And I think for myself, when I see different things I want to develop and I want to be at, it's like, okay, I know when I'm 40, I can have this or do this and I'll be at that level. And I'm like, wait a minute, but I don't, that's almost like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
It's like, what about now? It's like we always forget the times that we dreamt for, or, it's cliche, but you hear the quotes. It's like you're in the moment now that you wished for 5 years ago. As cliche.
And yet you want to be in the moment 5 years from now.
And then you're like, okay, I'm here now. Let's go to this one. And it's like everyone's running through this race of life, and it's like, what are you running to? Death.
Yeah. For you, what's your escape of that? Because you live in the city. I mean, you're like the hustle and bustle, right?
Yeah.
I've seen how you drive around the city. You got the hustle. You've got the hustle and bustle mentality.
Toronto driving is
we won't say anything about that.
I mean, hey, we're good.
But
we've been good for tickets.
Oh yeah, we've been good. No, you were here around. So when we're looking at your life, and when you're looking at your life, really from that 3D perspective, pulling yourself out, where do you go to reminisce on the last 5 years, where you've come, but not dream about the next 5? Where do you go to just take a second? Like, what's that moment for you?
Yeah, you know what? And I've been actually actively, I would say this year, I kind of lost touch of that over the last year and a half, I would honestly say. It's a mixture of an outlet. It's a mixture of working out. It's a mixture of, like my escape is hockey. My escape would be, from that, I like going to hockey for that hour and 15, 20 minutes. I leave my phone in the car.
Yeah.
It's like when you're playing hockey, it's a sport, and anyone who played a high level or any sport, nothing is going on and nothing bothers you but the game at hand. All you're focused on is just playing this game you love, right? It's corny, but, it's that block from reality. I understand even when people work out. Like, I've worked out sometimes and don't know what songs are on. Like, you're just thinking, you're just in a different zone. You go for a run and some of your best thinking comes that way. And I think
that's true. You're the most present.
Yeah, it grounds you. It brings you back. It's kind of like one of those where there's nothing else around you.
So is that like, so would you say, and I'm trying to pick this out because I think it's important.
I'd say physical activity is what does it for me. Like, I'm very ADD. Like, I'm very like highly like go out. Like, I answer a phone right now, I'll get up and start walking around. Like, legit. So it's very, for me, it's that keeping that narrow focus, that kind of thing. Like, it's hard for me to focus.
Yeah.
So that's where it's kind of like that little spot of no distractions puts you in a different spot. Like, I could tell you there's nothing more than annoys me when I'm on the bench and I'm thinking about a deal or I'm thinking about something going on. I actually get angry.
Yeah, because you're pulling yourself. So how do you bring yourself back? Because I feel like you just have to catch yourself.
It's hard. Like, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And sometimes you just can't.
Do you find yourself being less articulate sometimes? Because I at least for me, man, it's tough. And I think, like, I don't know, you get pulled in so many different directions when you're trying to talk.
There's a part of you too sometimes when you're being pulled in all the different directions where you're just like, you sit there and have to regroup sometimes and say to yourself, well, I don't even want to be talked to these directions. You're like, oh, whatever, I'm done with these. And then you have to regroup and say, okay, let's slow down. Let's just tackle one problem at a time and we'll get to them.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's one of those where you just have to try to like unfocus it, do it. Like, I like to unwind at night. So you try to do that, and I'll try to shut down by like 9 o'clock or so, just turn everything off. And that's kind of your time to just relax.
What was, I'm curious, your parents.
Yeah.
What was that situation like growing up?
Yeah, nothing bad. My, hardworking family I came from. My dad, he was actually from the Caribbean, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool upbringing. They're very different, very cultured in that sense. So it was kind of cool growing up in that household. Very hardworking household. You earn everything. Everything comes from working hard, and as long as you work hard, things will come through. You provide and that kind of thing. So at a young age, you understand hard work. Like, I would work with my dad on the weekends, help him out, do whatever he was doing for his side businesses and whatnot.
What did he do to instill that in you from an early age?
I think you just see it. I think a big thing is like you see it, right? Everything. I mean, you can say things, and I think this is also correlates to any industry you're in, right? I think there's a misconception these days with what hard work means, right? People think hard work means overdriven or, you're tired or running ragged or what it might be. But I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's something to be aware of, right? Like, I think growing up and knowing that and seeing it, it gives you another better understanding and knowing that everything that you can want and do, you can get, but you have to work for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Unfortunately, have you heard the saying, strong men make easy times make weak men.
Yeah.
And then it goes in a cycle.
Yeah.
That seems to be apparent in today's society where we're getting into this weaker phase
Yeah.
because of actually we were in a weak phase maybe 3 years ago and now it's kicking into hard
I
hard
think
times.
as a whole, right? Like, and I mean, this kind of goes back to society as a whole. And you say to yourself, over the last 20, 30, 40 years, we have gotten softer as a culture, right? And
Yeah.
I don't think that's a negative. I think there's a lot of aspects of culture that needed to soften. I think, the hard, it's not going to work for everybody, and understanding that everybody is different and unique. I think there is something to be said about, understanding there is hard work and nothing's going to be handed to you, and you have to do some uncomfortable things to get what you want. I think that's the depiction here where it's like, I didn't do nothing, I deserve it all, versus no, you need to earn what you deserve, right? So I think as a whole we've softened, but good and bad.
I think it's the people and what they want, right? There's always going to be those hard workers, and they're going to excel in the materialistic sense of the world, right?
Yeah.
Whereas there's going to be people that are really soft, don't work as hard, but are I arguably say more content and present than the people who have,
it's arguable, right? Like, I think there's people that make millions of dollars that hate their lives, right? There's people that can make $1 million today and still be miserable. Yeah. There's people that can make $40,000 a year and be the happiest thing ever.
That's true.
Right? So I don't think, and again, it goes back to purpose. It goes back to, what do you personally want? Are you tied up with, your buddy has this or that, or I want, like, I said to myself the other day, it was interesting because I was at a store and my buddy was like, oh, I like this. And I was like, oh, that's okay. And it was really expensive. And I was like, oh, whatever. But then my other buddy's like, oh, I like that too. I'm like, but that's not even like, you don't like that brand. Like, that's not even your style. Like, do you like this, or is it because it's popular? Right? So I think understanding and being okay with what you want, right? Like, I mean, I talked to an agent and they said that they take from November to January off every year. That's what they do. And, there's nothing wrong with that. I think some people would say that's bad, or you shouldn't do that. Or it's like, but if that's what makes them happy and they're content with what they have, there's nothing wrong with it. Right? And I think people are so caught up with, I have to make this amount, or I have to do this, or, in our industry, everybody wants to build a team. Half the people don't want to build teams. Half the people shouldn't build teams, right? Yeah. There's a lot of people that should be on teams instead, and their life will be so much better. Yeah. Right? But it's just like, being so self-aware of what you personally want is the only thing that will keep you content.
It's what I love about that is the idea. It goes back to purpose and what you're going to pursue within yourself, right? Yeah. And trying to find that about yourself.
And I think for anybody that's younger or coming up in an industry, like, I think I encourage people to talk to people that you wouldn't normally talk to. So what really worked for me was I was on a big team, and I took it upon myself, because coaching's expensive, right? So you leave a team, you're gonna have expense. So I didn't pay for coaching, right? But I took it upon myself to find every industry leader I could and call them for 45 minutes, half an hour, whatever they needed. I met people in Stony Creek, Toronto, whatever phone call you need me. If you need me to answer at 8 a.m., I will be on the call ready at 8 a.m. to talk to you. And honestly, that was eye-opening. Like, I got to learn so much from them. So
much is free too nowadays.
Well, not even that, you think about coaching, for instance, from any real estates that are listening or whatnot. It's like, it's probably anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month in coaching. And you get about an hour, half an hour phone call. Well, if I talk to one really powerful or a big agent or someone who's really successful for 40 minutes, 4 times, 4 different people a month, that's the same as coaching. It's free. So there's no reason you can't learn from it. And from that is when I learned. That's where I really got to sit there and say, wow, like, you really start to learn that most of these people are running these things. If they could do it again, would do it way different.
Where did you learn to be so, for lack of better words, scrappy, in the sense that you could figure out ways of doing things against cultural norms or going against it? Where did you learn that?
I think that just comes from me being me.
That's an innate thing?
That's an innate thing. Like, when it comes to sales and that kind of thing, like, I mean, to bring it to basic terms, I was selling pixie sticks on the bus, those little sugar sticks.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was like a phase in grade 9 and we were on buses. So I would go to the convenience store for $3 and buy a 100-pack and sell them on the bus for, I think it was 10. It was, if I would do 3 for 25 cents, because the cafeteria would sell them for 15. So I'd sell them to everybody on the bus. And then, like, you get in trouble for it because you're not allowed to do it apparently. But like, I think it's just always finding a solution for a problem. Like, I've always been the go-getter type when it came from even just part-time jobs. Like, I remember being 15, 16, and I'm like, I want to work at Sport Check. I want to work at a sports store. I applied like 5 times, never got hired, never got an interview. And then, I remember one summer when I was 16, my neighbor's boyfriend was the manager of like the other side. It was like a Coast Mountain side.
Yeah.
And he's like, you can be stock boy. So I'm like, good, I'm in. Get me in. Was stock boy for 3-4 months, moved over to Sport Check, started selling shoes. My goal was to be in hockey. And fast forward a year later of a part-time job, I'm selling hockey. So I think for me, it's always been in my head that if I really want something and I truly want something, I will go get it. And I think it's just knowing that is kind of got me that like scrappy, I guess. Looking back on, I didn't realize what I was doing was just like keep putting it out there, and going for it. But I think that was a big
where do you
part of
think
it.
the self-confidence aspect of being I say forget even being an agent. I don't care what you do. I care about you as a person. Where does the self-confidence come from for you?
Perspective.
Why?
Perspective on life.
Oh, interesting.
I think we get too carried away of what we can't control. And I think the one thing I've learned in even real estate and life is you can't control the other person. You can't control the outcomes of anything that haven't happened yet. Yeah. All you can control is yourself, your present moment, and how you think of something, how you react to something, and how you choose to react to something. So I've kind of taken that approach to a lot of things. And I mean, I think I realized with 1 billion people in the world, I'm so insignificant that ego of I deserve everything is just so minuscule. It doesn't mean anything to me because, who am I? Right? It's like, you know what? You may not like me, or I may meet this person who's having a bad day and you know what? They rub me the wrong way, or I rub them the wrong way because I'm happy. And
so
they
what do you
don't
think,
like me. But
what do
okay.
you think, we talked about your purpose.
Yeah.
But what do you think the purpose of society is? Like life in general.
Well, I would say, I don't know. I would say that the mindset has shifted. The paradigm has shifted. Like go back 20 years, let's say, when, you weren't born yet. But let's go back in when I was growing up, right? Purpose of society was go to school, go get a degree, get a wife, get a family, buy a house, die. That was society. Now we've started to shift into, like you see women's movements. Women can be CEOs, right? That 30 years ago was not even a thing that people would talk about, right? So it's like, be empowerment, start life a little bit later. Your life's not over at 25. You can start your life over at 45. You can take a new career at 40, right? Like, I think the society has just washed out norms, which is great. There is no norm. I think people looked at life as a blueprint, and there's no blueprint to life. I think you're just flying through the wind, and you try to control as much as you can. You go with the momentum and you fly with the momentum. Sometimes it'll veer you off course, but understand where you're going. So I think that's more so, I would say, purpose of society nowadays is they're pushing find your purpose, right? So I think a little bit comes down to, understanding and being okay with what you want, who you are, and where you want to go.
Interesting. I like that you said that. And it poses another question for me. When you're, 75 years old and your time's dwindling, unfortunately. I don't know, by then maybe they have a long
who
live.
knows, maybe I'll be at 100.
Yeah, I don't know. You never know, right? But when your time's dwindling and you're looking back, what are some things that you want people to say about you and about what your purpose was?
Ooh. Yeah, you know what? If I can help as many people as possible to do something or change their perspective of life, and I can look back and around your deathbed, people can say he was an enjoyable person to be around, right? No one's going to remember you for the money you spent or for the things you bought, right? People will always remember how you made them feel at the end of the day, right?
That's
it doesn't matter what you do, what you did. They'll always remember how you made them feel in a moment. So in that moment, if they can say when Nick walked in a room, he was that genuine, nice person that was around, talked to everybody, friendly, you can approach, that kind of thing, I would be content with that at the end of the day. I think it's all about more of your person and how you are and who you are.
Interesting. Nick, I wanted to ask a couple questions related to real estate.
Yeah, of course.
Because you're a smart guy when it comes to that kind of stuff. And my word on scrappy, I don't know a better word for that, and I mean it in the best way possible. But you are
I like it. Yeah,
you are
of
very
course.
scrappy when it comes to real estate because you can get very creative.
Yeah, I would say tenacious is a good word.
You call it tenacious.
Yeah, I would say that's a good word. I think in this industry you have to be.
Yeah.
If you're gonna get hurt by a no, it's not for you. Like I would tell you, the yeses are when you perk up your ears. Oh crap, a yes. Like sometimes you'll hear yes and you didn't even register it. Like I'll be door knocking and they're like, yeah, we're thinking of moving. And you're like, okay, like, yeah, okay. Wait, they said yes. Like, hold on a second. Right? Because you're so used to it. So I think it's just that.
How do you handle the no's?
Okay. Okay, move on. It's not anything personal. They don't not like me. Right? Like if you're talking from a person of real estate and business, right? Like if someone walked to me and knocked on my door today and said, hey, do you want to move? No, I love my neighborhood. I don't want to go anywhere. I can't ask people. I'm just looking for someone who's saying, yeah, I want to move. So that's all it is. I think we take it personal and we say, oh, they bugged us, so they don't like it. People have slammed doors. People have yelled at me. People, you're having a bad day. What can I do, right? We don't know what's going on behind the door, right?
That's true. That's
you never
true.
know, but we internalize it as like we did something bad. Maybe we did nothing wrong. Maybe this person's cat just died, or like a family member got hurt, or they lost their job. Like, who knows?
So don't look at yourself.
No, it's never a reflection of you, right? And a lot of times we reflect like, this person's upset with me. Okay, well, why are you upset with me? Well, you didn't say this or do that. Well, okay, but I didn't know this was going to upset you. Maybe they got upset from somebody else that does this to them constantly, and that reminded them of you.
Ah, good point.
Right? So
good
now
point.
they're reflecting another experience they had, and that you're going to do the same, right? Like sorry, I don't know who said it, but I don't know the quote exactly, but basically they said 80% of your experiences make up 0.001% of how the world sees it.
Ha.
Right?
Yeah.
So you sit there and you say, wow, how I experience something is really not how pretty much anybody else will experience something.
I guess everybody looks at it from their own two set of eyes.
Their own lens, their own experiences, what happened through their life. And as you get older, most people that you're going to talk to, you're probably going to have more problems because they've had so many more experiences.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So their worldview or how they see things are skewed in a way.
I think it's fitting that I ask you this question considering everything we've talked about leading up to this. And that's how much, so as a good realtor, how much is it just you as a person and you as a business?
I'd say 80%, 70 to 80% is a person. The other 30 is business. In all honesty, in our industry, it's all about relationship building. Like, I don't call myself a salesperson. I'm not really selling anything if you really think about it. Yeah, I'm selling a home. I'm selling a lifestyle. But if you're looking for a house, I always tell my buyers, I'm like, I can't tell you this is going to feel like home. I can't. Like, there's so many times you hear people say, like, oh, we love this home. It just felt right for us. I can't do that for you.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's just about the relationship that I can build, the trust, the let me help you through this. This is one of your biggest investments of life. Know that I appreciate you giving me that opportunity to work with you and trust me with that. Like, that's a huge honor. And I think people don't look at it that way. So it's all about the relationship, them building with somebody. Like, someone is going to be very nervous and understanding it. Like, I see a lot of people when it comes to real estate, they're poking fun at the parents coming at inspections and whatnot. And don't get me wrong. It does happen.
Oh, it can be funny.
It can be funny and whatnot. Don't get me wrong. But ultimately, you have to remember and put yourself in their shoes, right? If my parent that I've only know and I'm 28, 30, 32, this is the person that has helped me with everything my whole life and now my biggest investment ever in life, they're going to want to come and they're going to be nervous and have questions. Yeah. So it's okay, right? And I think it's the relationship that you build that, again, it goes back to how you made someone feel.
You talk about relationships a lot in our episode, and one of the things that I'm going to bring back from what you pulled at the beginning was communication and how crucial that is.
Yep.
The aspect of communication and selling, I say that with quotations for anybody listening, but that point of communication, you have some pretty good strategies to keeping good communication. I mean, if you think about it, you've got a network circle of potential, 5,000 people that might buy or sell from you, right? Yeah. Now, obviously, if you look at it from like a funnel, a lot of them are at the top, very few are maybe near the bottom, right? And those are your sales. Now, how do you go about maintaining solid communication with the majority of your circle? Because I will say, I feel as if you do a pretty good job at that, whether it just be the social media side, maybe if you want to talk about your St. Patty's trick.
I appreciate it.
Or
Yeah,
keep that under the loop. I don't know.
No, it doesn't matter. We do like a fun St. Patty's card we send out to all of our clients on St. Patty's Day. It's just $1 gift card that we send out. Just, little Irish luck type thing. I think thinking of different ways to talk to people that's not real estate related, right? Like taking a genuine interest in what people are doing. Yeah. Right. And I think social media has been an awesome tool for it. Right. Like I can see my clients on vacation, or I can see they're going to a certain, like, I don't know. One that comes to mind is my clients I saw on social were at a cool, great Italian restaurant in Kleinberg. I'm like, I didn't even know this existed. So you get to message them. Right. Yeah. Hey, what is that place? Like, was it good? What'd you eat? It's like, I genuinely want to know. I want to go there. Right. So it's kind of like you're able just to talk to them as people. Right. And I think it takes away from, let me call you every 4 months to see, hey, you got any referrals for me, right?
That's a very missed, I think those are very missed opportunities with a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the able to, like, they always say for your database, talk to your database like you know them. What does your database want to know? Who is your database? Who are the people in there? Is it first-time buyers that you've been working with? Are they downsizers? Are they people thinking of upsizing, With everything going on in the market with rates and all the negativity you hear, if I look at my database as a whole and I say, a lot of these people can upsize, this is an amazing opportunity. Yeah. So let me talk to them about it, right? Let me give them something of value instead.
I love it.
Right? So, little things like the St. Patty's, we do, Canada Day giveaways, we do Family Day. We do a lot of giveaways just to give back to them, just to make it a little interesting out there, fun for everybody, something different, let's face it, if you buy a house today, unless something goes wrong or you need a reno or something, you probably don't really need to talk to me for 3 to 4 years, And we had a great relationship. We saw each other so often for a month, 2 months straight. And then it's just like,
just fizz.
See ya. So it's like, just having a reason to touch up. I still touch base with them every year. We do Christmas stuff and whatnot. So, you try to touch as many as you can.
Yeah, right? You're keeping you want to keep it as tight as possible line of communication.
And, some people, and everything's different, right? Some people don't want to hear from you again.
Yeah.
Like, I've legitimately had clients, you email them every year, you send them stuff, you never hear from them. Then all of a sudden, hey, I'm ready to sell. Oh, I didn't even know you were getting my emails, but all right, let's go do it, right? Like, some people are just like that, right? I'm sure you have friends and buddies that just don't check stuff. Right. So,
it's true. It's true.
A lot of people miss that. You'll never appease the masses, but you just try and you put it out there. Right.
Yeah. Nick, we got to wrap up because we've been going for quite a while, but I love this. I want to ask you your question for the next guest.
Yeah.
What do you think you would say?
My question for the next guest.
I can't tell you anything about him.
Okay. Oh, so we're going just like flat
cold
out there,
turkey, buddy.
Okay.
I'll let you be the interviewer now.
Okay. What would I want to say? My best thing would be, who's the one person they look up to, and what trait do they bring that, whether it be a personality or what trait is the one that attracts you to follow this person or this person's path?
Interesting. So what trait do you admire?
Yeah. Like, what is the reason for, whether it be a celebrity, whether it be an athlete, whether it be a parent, or whatever that might be? What's that person that drives it or keeps that motivation going?
Keeps motivation going.
Yeah.
I love it. Nick, I want to buy or sell with you. How can I get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if you want to buy or sell with me, you can check me out on social media. Send me a message through there, Nick Crozier _realtor. If you guys want to hit me up, you can text me, call me at any time, 647. I'll fire the number out, 404-2418. Text, sell, anything, buy, whatever you need, we got you. Hit me up on Insta, whatever.
If you admire energy, you're gonna want to work with Nick.
Yeah. We're out there. We're going. So if you're having a down day, we'll bring you right back up.
I love it, buddy. I love it. Nick, thanks so much, man. And guys, thank you so much for taking a listen. Make sure to leave comments down below for any golden questions you want us to ask our golden guests, just like Nick here. So thank you guys so much for listening and or watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next episode. Cheers.